Hi everyone, there's a few things that I wanted to show you for AP Bio just to make sure that you're ready to go for the start of the year. One of the things I want to show you to make sure you understand is when you get to your Google Classroom and you're on AP Biology here, what I want you to do is always to click on the Classwork tab. On the stream, you'll see that I give you some information about what you need to do each day, but your Classwork stream is where everything's going to be located for you. And when you get to the top, you'll see that this is the unit we're on right now. We'll be getting to chemistry of life soon. But down here, what I want you to focus on today is these AP test tools. And these AP test tools are really important because there's a lot of information in here that you'll need in order to master the exam. The first thing I want to show you is going to be just something quick and easy is the equation sheet. And this equation sheet will also be given to you on the test when you take the AP Bio test. I've also included it in your binder so you have a copy of it. I just want to click on it and show you a little bit about it. So this equation sheet does show you some of the things you'll need to be able to calculate. So we'll be working on this more this week with an Oreo lab. And you'll see here it has the mean and how to calculate the mean. And you'll see that there's all different equations that we'll be learning about this year. When you scroll to the bottom, you'll see there's a little star that says that it'll only, for the purposes of the AP exam, you'll not be required to actually do the calculations for this. The only one that I've seen has a star is the pH calculation. Otherwise, you'll have to be able to perform all calculations. And then some of them say for lab only, and I don't think I saw any that are marked that way. We'll go over more of this equation sheet as we go through the year, but every exam that you take, you'll be able to use this. The other thing I want to show you is the course verbs. So if you click on course verbs, you'll see here that there's a list of the different verbs that you'll be asked on the test. So for example, if it tells you to calculate something, it explains here what they want you to do. And so you need to actually perform the mathematical steps, which means that you'll need to show your work, you'll need units and significant figures. And so it shows you right here what they're looking for. If you scroll down, the one that I really want to point out is justify. We'll be using this a lot, and something interesting about this is you need to include numbers when you justify something. So if you're justifying why the answer is the answer it is, you'll need to use the number that goes with that answer. And so we'll talk more about these verbs, but I just want to let you know that this is also laminated and in your binder, so you can use it when you need it. And I also put them up in the front of my classroom. The last thing that I wanted to point out to you as well is these science practices. And so when you click on the science practices, I gave you a shortened version of what it looks like. If you go to the AP Bio website, they'll give you the science practices, all 6 of them listed in this confusing format, in my opinion. So what I did is I just simplified it down into what I'm going to have you do every time that you are going to do a lab. And you will follow this format on the lab. The first one is Science Practice 1, which is concept explanation. What you'll do for that is you'll need to explain the concept using your own words based on sources that you found. So if you went out and you went to Google and you found information, you're going to need to find 3 sources with references to explain the concept that we're talking about. The next science practice that we will do is visual representation. And oftentimes you'll see a visual that's going to be given to you, a diagram or maybe a graph, and you're going to need to explain it. For our case, though, in experiments, I will expect that you draw a sketch of the setup of your experiment. The next one is science practice 3, and that's going to be the questions and methods. We will be working on this a ton at the beginning of the year and throughout the year. This is looking at, can I create a hypothesis that's unbiased? Do I have my methods listed, independent and dependent variable control, and collecting data? If you're like, whoa, it's been a long time since I've done all these things, don't worry, we'll be working on this a lot throughout the year. Science practice 4 is going to be representing and describing data. This is where you're going to create a data table. You always have to have a data table if you have a graph. There is no exception. And you will need to make sure that your graph follows talks, title, axis, labels, key, and scale. And we'll talk more about that once we get started on our first graph. And you'll need to include a results section that just describes the data. That's it. Science practice 5 is using statistical tests and data. This is where the math heavy piece is going to come in, and we are going to need to actually create statistical tests Well, we're not creating them, but we're going to use them, and we are going to evaluate if our hypothesis is going to be supported or not supported by our data. This is a really important piece that you'll need for the AP exam. And then the last science practice is going to be science practice 6. This is argumentations, and this is my favorite piece. This is where you're going to use the CER model, claim, evidence, and reasoning. And we will be using this a lot throughout the year. We will be doing some practice on this, and I'll have another video that goes more into detail about the CER model. But what's really important is that you are able to explain if your data supports it or does not support it, and giving us some evidence or those numbers on why. And the last thing you'll do is make a prediction for the future. I know it's a lot of information. The good thing is we're going to be practicing it throughout the entire year. You'll have multiple times to try it. And as we go through it, you'll notice that it just starts to feel more comfortable. I took the class this summer for AP Bio to just kind of see what it was like. And by probably the fifth lab that we did, I was a master at this, and so will you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Email me, set up a Google Meet. I'm here to help you. Thank you.